calling you a radical, so all the hearsay, all the opinion, whatever. I've been doing more and more work on the so-called Spanish flu, which there's no doubt in my mind that it was a fucking biological weapon that fucking started it. Absolutely no doubt in my mind. So, but whatever. That's hypothesis. Well, maybe. So, I want you to think. In 1917, 1918, 1919, if they had YouTube cameras for PhDs, I don't think that we just had this conversation, me and some young postgraduate students. I said, you do realize they captured all the PhDs. And so YouTube is what I do. It's the only place I have. And I explained to him how you have to turn over your PhD to the public house, and that's what Aaron Swartz was up to. He was downloading. I've held the brick in my hand. The deciphered brick. This autistic kid, whoa, what a brain that dude had. Tried to give it to me. I said, don't you fuck. You ain't playing that burden on me. I ain't getting on there playing with that. So, I have control. But what I do, when I was a graduate student and I did all my work, you'd go into that research library and you just dug and dug and dug, and hopefully you found somebody's dissertation, somebody's work. There was. That's what the research library was. That's what YouTube is. You'll say, well, the library is fucking 99% of stuff in the library is fucking a waste of your time. It's like YouTube is. But there's those gems. In 1917, 1918, 1919, can you imagine if people that were doing their work was able to put, and that's another thing I says, when you're at a hypothesis stage, you think about it. If you hypothesize something that doesn't meet the mainstream narrative, they actually block it and ban it. So what has that done to research PhDs? Now think about it. If you were saying COVID-19 came from the sea, it was, maybe a mutation from the labs from Fukushima, Remember, we were just saying it came from the Wuhan lab not that long ago. They would block you. They would take you down, Mark Zuckerberg, and crew would take you down. So you put it in the library. There it is. I mean, that's what you do. So we can ignore hypotheses. We can ignore opinions right now. What we can't ignore is the fact of the reality. So a biologist up here finally has come around. He says, I got to tell you, Kevin, you make such a solid point when you say the bottom line is this. These salmon numbers don't lie. These salmon are dying in the ocean, and this has been an acute radical collapse. In science, we don't use mystified, baffled, stumped, perplexed, bewildered, curious, alarmed, the unknown of an unknown. That doesn't cut it in science. That does not cut it in science. In fact, that's asymmetric science. That's opposite. So I just been saying to everybody, okay, this is what you say to everybody, our army out there, when they start just blowing over the whole Fukushima hypothesis, the whole Fukushima reality of my work. I mean, 10 years of field work. Oh, fuck. I think about this journey. Explain to me how the salmon have acutely collapsed. Now, the Copper River is a big fucking deal. Now, there's a lot of pressure on them to lie on the Copper River. And they've been caught in a court of law, fucking, as proven. They got fucking all kinds of trouble for lying. They got sued and proven that they lied a lot. So, the Copper River, and we're talking by number. By weight, it's even bigger catastrophe. We're talking from 1.7, 1.8 million to Fukushima. Last year's nightmare number, 530,000. Now, I have a friend who works in the cannery up there. He says, they sue you off. When you go in, they search you. If you got a camera or whatever, oh. I says, yeah, they'll beat the fuck out of you. Yeah. You'll never be found again. You think that's a lie? Go work in the fishing industry and see if you fucking people disappear all the time in that industry. 530,000 last year. That's my number. He told me, he says, they're coming in, they got spots in them. He says, yeah, those are fucking cancer tumors. All these numbers are being tracked up and down the coast. They're dying in the ocean, not dams. Like I told him, I says, you've been living in a pre-Fukushima fucking world. It changed everything, just like the fucking gassing on the battlefield in 1918, 1970. By the way, the U.S. was doing it. The Ohio Rubber Company, you know, they were making nerve gas there in Ohio. French did it, Germans did it, it was all the rage, gassing people to fucking death. Oh, it's just a coincidence that the Spanish flu, Spain was neutral. So they were reporting it. They weren't in World War. And, you think about the Allies. How did this ally is now not this ally? This ally, I thought we fought with the Germans. Then we fought against the Germans. Then we fought with the Russians. Then we fought against the Russians. I mean, what the fuck? These globalist fucking pyramid scheme. Their fucking board game. But let's get real. I mean, the Browning gun was invented here. That BAR. The only thing that changed the world more than that was the flu epidemic. You cannot ignore my work now. You could ignore it all you want for a long time. Blow me off. And I was so good. I flipped that soup can. Fuck my rock. Because I knew that to hold retention, the only way you find me in YouTube, you got to hold retention. It's not based on view count. View count means shit. Subscriber means shit. I knew that. Until they fucking illegally. And by the way, what they've done to me, Google has done to my view count it's a crime. They've kettled me. The university's done it. They scrubbed me because I went after them so hard. I know for a fact. I talked to my buddy, the IT guru, Dave. He says, oh yeah, they scrubbed you. You Google Weber State, you'd get nothing but Kevin Blanche fucking going off about how they hijacked and sold our school business. Number one school business in the United States. Warren Buffett stole it. And Bill Childs. To supply chain from fucking China. Usually fucking don't go see the Dalai Lama. Number one school business in the United States. When I graduated there, when I taught there, to dead last. Corporate whoredom in a state university. You cannot ignore, just like I told him just now. He says, it's true, Kevin. This acute radical collapse from record returns to they're just a wipeout. Dying in the ocean. It has to be explained. In science, we call that an outlier. In an outliner, you can run regression, get out your fucking computers, and because we have the data now. We don't cut dead fucking humans in bone marrow plant. Oh, I do. I was almost one of them. We don't count dead starfish, wiped out tide pools. Oh, I do. We count every fucking salmon. Because they make it all the way into those fucking hatcheries. 112 in the fucking Coal River hatchery right now for the year. Jedediah Smith has 228 for the year. There's no dams on the Jedediah Smith. You believe it's named that after that killer? The Copper River right now is running fucking way worse than even last year. And we're into the fucking, the peak fucking runs right now when you get 30, 40, 50,000 a day. They got 8,000 yesterday. They should be getting 40,000, 50,000 a day. They don't even have that for the year. You know, it was magic 2 years ago. All of a sudden, they rose those numbers right up at the fucking end. They lied. Army Corps Engineers classifies Kevin Blanche. Think about that one. Think about that one. It's a fact. I bet multiple people, fucking powerful people, told me, Kevin Blanche, you're classified. At grassroots, I was that effective, flipping that can, holding retention, getting the sidebar. So what do? They kettle me, I'll kettle you. I termed that fucking term. I've termed thousands of terms. Internet kettling. It's illegal. It's a crime. It's a fucking crime against humanity. Not a crime against Kevin Blanche, which is a crime against Kevin Blanche. Because look what they've done to me, you know. Wipe me out, but it's a crime to humanity. These fucking lies. You cannot argue with my evidence now. These salmon numbers are down fucking 90% in most cases. Some places 99%. The fucking rogue's down 99%. Now remember, Chinook salmon go to sea for 5 years. These sockeye numbers on fucking the Copper River, fuck, look at them. I mean, they're out there. Just Google Alaska fish counts, click Copper River. They graph all the way back. Same with the Columbia. And remember, this is with no gill netting on the Columbia and no fishing. The gill nets don't lie. They take out half. You go, let's just talk spring run on the fucking Columbia. Just fucking in 5 years, 6 years, because 2015 record returns. They're doing videos all record returns. to this, they go to sea for 5 years. I told everybody, on cue, they will drop in 2016. Mark my words. My numbers have been dead on every fucking year. That's good science. That's what a good scientist does. First you hypothesize knowledge, then you do the field work, then you defend your fucking work. Then, if you're right, it becomes knowledge. Which I said it's a plasma, it's a gas. These are full core. It took me a year and a half to convince anybody it was one meltdown. This is a new energy. It's pushing, bringing star power to Earth. Livermorium, Tennessean. I'll post Fukushima. Look, unbelievable, these madmen in these fucking labs. They're monsters. There's no doubt in my fucking mind that fucking COVID is completely directly correlated with the Fukushima disaster. There's absolutely no, I mean, Dr. Winters mentored me here, the fucking great zoologist, when I was just a young boy. I was one of those. He was a fucking genius. He used to do this incredible lecture on fucking the pandemic of 1980, and it was devastating. By the way, that pandemic killed so many kids, children. It just wiped out children. It's heartbreaking. He used to go and fucking just prove it. He would hammer how the direct correlation from the trenches in Europe and the biological weapons. I mean, Dugway's right out there. I used to work there. No fucking doubt. So we can, my Fuktonium thesis, they're going to push this into the ocean. It's going to cause a fucking heat bubble. It's going to break the fucking chain. It's going to break the food chain. It's a plasma. It's a gas. They're going to break it. This fucking new source that's never been known in the, not at Mayak, not at 3 Mile Island, not at Santa Susana, not at fucking Chernobyl. Never. Not this. Bringing star, but the sun can give you cancer from 93 million miles away. 6,500 miles away is not the jet stream moves left to right. Breaking news, breaking news. Fish swim. These Salmon numbers are empirical data. And I hypothesize. You get to 26 people saying, ha ha, I was there, I saw it, record returns, I was there, you're full of shit, Blanche. I says, wait till 2016, it'll be the first batch back. I mean, these salmon were growing before. They were already almost mature in fucking 2010, 20, with the returners in 20. They go to sea for 5 years, hello, on average. So, boom, on 2016, and scientists, again, mystified, baffled, stumped, perplexed, bewildered, fucking baffled. By the way, I'm going to do some work on that fuckhead Baffert. I know Baffert, Bob Baffert, since I was a young guy. Down this stretch. California knows he's been cheating for years. For years, he's a fucking cheater. You know, take away those fucking, all those victories. He's been cheating. Every single one that he won, he's been cheating. So it's factual now. We have the data.
Well, we'll try.
What are you guys looking for?
So he was supposed to have a tour, and they told him to meet him at the Adventure Center or Welcome Center.
The Welcome. They did some earlier in the Union, but the Adventure Center is clear over on that side of the campus. It's new, and it's a long walk over there.
Okay.
But it's way over there. It's brand new. But where that practice football field is, you'll see there's a new building up there to the left. That's it.
Okay.
Thank you.
You betcha. So this place is so fucking poorly run. Don't even get me fucking going. These professors just pay themselves. Fuck, they don't do shit. Where, you know, traditional PhD was a hypothesized, do the field work. It was plumb full of research PhDs, placing their work in the fucking infamous Stewart Library, including Edward Abbey. Now look at it. Bunch of pompous, put their feet up in the fucking air, fucking stole the fucking PhDs. You can't even find them now because I was at Aaron Swartz's fucking hearing the day he died. I was in fucking New York that day. What do you think? It's Fuktonium. So I asked him today. He says, yeah, I've heard it from you a million times, Kevin. Every time you see me, you put it in my face. Counter me. Counter me. Counter me, I tell him. Counter me. What wiped them out? Before it was like, they're not wiped out, you're full of shit. We have the data. Here's the data. Here, you want to look? Here's the numbers. Here's the numbers. By the way, I mean, when Whole Foods has to change their machine because they've gotten so small. Here's the data. We had record returns. Read my fucking lips. Record returns in 2015, 14, 13, 12. We were expecting record returns in 2016, 17, 18. We had record escapement. It's empirical fucking data now. Let's debate. So tell me, so run some regression through your computer. Anybody can plug in the salmon models now in a regressionary model. And it's going to fucking deviate from the mean fucking 10 million times. The smoke's going to come out. It's going to point right to 2011. Bang, right to 2011. So I tell them, did a meteor hit the ocean in 2011? Did we have 9 million fucking Exxon Valdez? It's like the documentary of the ocean dying. You know, and it's a good documentary. I watched it, and they're so on it. I don't eat fish. Fucking overfishing's a catastrophe. But like I told my grandson, he watched it. Did the overfishing wipe out the tide pools? He's like, no. The wasting disease, which is the same as COVID-19. What killed the starfish is killing you and me. We from the sea. There's no doubt in my mind. The wasting disease, the fucking plume, all of it, fucking post-Fukushima, it's not a coincidence. Coincidence doesn't get in science. You fuckers that have been mystified, baffled, stumped, perplexed, bewildered, fucking all of it, and fuck off. You should be locked up in jail. And the media that went along, the Bill Gates fucking ass kissers, that pedophile fucking creepy fucking, you think he's hanging around with Epstein for fucking fun, for his health? Fuck, they fucking fooled you. You won't get fooled again. You get fooled over and over and over. These fuckers, you can't even put in your fucking hypothesis into the library. They'll take you down. Oh, that doesn't meet their fucking lie narrative. What they've done as far as the kettling on me on Kevin Blanch is a fucking crime. Google what the crime they've committed against fucking me, we from the sea, is a crime against humanity. I've been right the whole fucking time. And they want to block my fucking information. I get people come to me all the time when you were going crazy about Fukushima in the first days. It says, stay inside. You probably saved my life. I get people that are fighting cancer all the time fucking email me, send me stuff in the mail. Thank you. Without you, I watched your fight. Fucking, without your fight, I would have never fucking survived. But fuck me. You know, so thank you everybody for supporting historic work. So, if it wasn't Fukushima, tell me what the fuck it was. Because it's empirical data now. The salmon have collapsed. Again, we don't count dead tide pools. Oh, Kevin Blanch does. We don't count dead humans in bone marrow. Oh, okay. How about the Fukushima fires? People used to laugh at me on that. It's getting in the pine needles. These fucking. I predicted all this in the pine. So it's going to cause a heat bubble. How about the Great Salt Lake going dry? A guy arguing it's been going on for decades. I said, the fuck it has. Here's my Spiral Jetty fucking video. Fucking 2012. Oh, fuck. Oh. Yeah. So it look empty to you there? No. Looks like normal level to me. Okay, then shut the fuck up. I'm tired of your fucking bullshit opinions. Fucking, it's all fucking empirical fucking data now. You know, I was a finance fucking student there and a finance professor. You want to talk crunch numbers and fucking, Dr. Cooley used to say, figures don't lie, liars figure. We have the fucking data now. No ethics. Fuck the whole country's Bob Baffert. As I've said, now I used to say, the United States is nothing but fucking Mark McGuire swinging Albert Bell's fucking, about why riding Lance Armstrong's bike. All cheaters. All cheaters. Now it's fucking Mark McGuire swinging Albert Bell's fucking bat, fucking riding Lance Armstrong's fucking bike on the back of a Bob Baffert trained fucking horse. You label me, I'll fucking label you. I saw Metallica on the football field up there. Where's your fucking crown, all you fuckers that went along? Scientists are mystified, baffled, you media fuckers, Anderson, Vanderbilt, Cooper, scientists, who's there? They were at Fukushima. Scream, oh, meltdown, and they come home not a fucking word. I want to say to every one of you imperialist fuckheads, Bezos, fucking Geist, his fucking nuclear physicist, fucking grandfather, well, not nuclear physicist, just propagandist, Los Alamos, Jeffrey Epstein Islands at fucking Los Alamos, or Zorro Ranch. So is fucking Scientology. Fuck. I knew Aaron Sorts. I was involved with Anonymous in those fucking days. I want to say to all you fucking imperialist fuckheads who've gone along with this. Like Paul Allen, where the fuck's he on his fucking yacht? Save the ocean. She's got the list. Maxwell, she's in prison. How come we don't see it? I see Leon Black, that piece of shit who guards the MoMA. I protested the MoMA so many times. You see some chick fucking sued him, read through the, I just read through the fucking lawsuit. What he did to her, oh, whips, chains, tied up, fucking against her will. This is the guy who runs the MoMA. I remember being in the MoMA when I was a kid in New York City, 10 years old, and they had this girl tied up, and she was naked on a fucking thing, and she was throwing paint around. Well, maybe Neon Black and fucking. I guess that's what Leon Black was doing in his house. He's the gatekeeper. Jeffrey Epstein's fucking. Oh, I'm gonna come over and babysit the girls. Debs. All roads lead to Los Alamos, the nuclear energy crime syndicate, gassing on the battlefields in fucking World War One. Yeah, just a coincidence, bro. Not this time, motherfuckers. You're not pulling it off. I'm like, they ain't pulling it off this time. You met your fucking match with Kevin Blanche. Fucking, you met your fucking match. You're talking the most historic PhD in fucking human history. Where's your fucking crown, you fucking propaganda? Fuck you, the moment. Fucking block me. I'm protesting there, and he says, I'm supposed to kick you out. This big fucking security guard. He says, Kevin Blanche. I was on the USS Reagan. What they did to those guys, they sent all those ships, Operation Friendship, that cover up. Supreme Court throws it out. Thank you for all your work. I'm going to coffee break. Do your fucking thing. To all you propaganda, nuclear fucking pro freak show. Fuck you. All you fucking professors that went along with this. Every science professor, every fucking one of you should be fucking rounded up. Every fucking one of you. Talk about betrayal to your fucking credentials. Where's your fucking crown? Where's your fucking crown? When your crown king salmon nothing. Stand tuned.